Hi, we're back, and this is the second part to the worksheet about solving an inequality. We just talked about how this flow chart will help us to know when to flip or not flip an inequality symbol when we are solving for inequalities. And so we're going to go down below to the 6 questions and work out the answer. Now, we did talk about which ones to flip and which ones not to. So starting with number 1, I'm going to look at the number 3, and actually this negative sign, we're going to put it with the 3 and make that negative. So here it's dividing by a negative 3, so which means that I should flip, and that's following the right side of the flow chart. So this is where we would be over here for number 1. Then we would take the negative 3, bring it here, and do the inverse and times it with the 15. So 15 times negative 3 gives me negative 45. The symbol flips, so that should be greater than now, and the x still stays on the left-hand side, and there's my answer. Number 2, I look at the variable, it says x, then it says minus 5, so this is a subtraction question. And because it's a subtraction question, if you go to the right side of the left side of the flow chart, then we would not be flipping. So it's going to be greater than or equal to. So no flip here. And I keep the x here. Then I would do the inverse of minus 5 and bring it next to the 17 and add the 5 with the 17, giving me 22. And there's my answer. Number 3, I'm going to take the 7, bring it over here. And because here I'm multiplying and the 7 is a positive, then I am not flipping. So I'm going to take the symbol and keep it as greater than or equal to. X is still on the left side. I'm going to take the 7 that's multiply over here and divide. And positive 7, so 49 divided by 7 is 7. And there's my answer for that question. And I actually don't even need to write that positive there at all. Number 4, I have a dividing here with the y, and that 9 is actually going to be a negative, so I'm going to bring the negative with a 9. So I'm dividing a negative, which tells me on the chart that I need to flip the inequality. So I'm going to take this inequality, make it this direction less than, y stays over here, and that negative 9 moves over here, and I do the inverse. So negative 9 I will multiply with a 10, giving me negative 90. So my answer, y is less than negative 90. Number 5, I'm going to look at the negative 2. It is multiplying with a negative, which tells me I need to flip the symbol. So I'm going to flip it, make it less than or equal to. There's my y on the left side. I bring the negative 2 over here, do the inverse, which is to divide by negative 2. And I do want to apologize if I am going a little quickly, but this is a review video where we are reviewing inequalities, and mostly the flipping of the symbols. So my answer for 5, y less than or equal to negative 9. The last question here, I'm going to take the y plus 9, so that's already telling me that I'm adding plus, which is that I'm going to tell me that I'm not going to flip. So I'm going to take the symbol, not flip it, keep the y on the left side wherever it was in the beginning, take the 9, do the inverse, which is a minus 9. When I subtract those two numbers, I'm going to do the T for teams to help me set up my question. And the 9 is negative and the 12 is negative. So since they're both negative, that means the negative team has 21 and the positive has 0, and that gives me negative 21. And there's my answer. And if you would like to know more about the T for teams when adding and subtracting integers, then that is a strategy that we use in class that we have talked about and reviewed also beforehand. So thank you for watching, and happy studying.